No, it's a Latin saying, and look it up. Do your own research on it. It's a difficult concept to have to come up with a good example of it. You know, at the fall of the Roman Empire, Bunker talks about the fact that all things being equal, they would have continued to have food supply coming in, but alas and alack, all things weren't equal. There were invading hordes, and actually the Romans had taught the barbarians how to cultivate grain, wheat, and have good harvest, and so they learned that from the Romans, and therefore, instead of having to go out and hunt and gather, they could park their armies at Rome's door and, you know, have food enough to eat to lay siege. So, anyway, to me, one of the best examples, or the best example I would give, is that people like Cody Crone, Wrangler Star, 2013-14, he got the top award YouTube channel worldwide, and justly deserved. I mean, very good channel. A lot of stuff you can learn from the man. Oh gosh, Noah Sanders, the whole Sanders multi-generational clan in Virginia, uncles and brothers, and just awesome bunch of people. They're in Virginia. Cody's up in Oregon. Michael Bunker is in Texas. The Food Forest, Secret Garden, Rick Austin. Not sure where he's at. Paul Wheaton, sustainability. He's the Pope of, I think he calls himself the Pope of Permaculture, Duke of Permaculture, whatever. All those people who are teaching sustainability, they're doing it. Diamond with Oppenheimer Ranch Project in New Mexico somewhere. They're all trying to be sustainable, and all things being equal, they would be doing good. Things ain't gonna be equal. Okay? No concept. This is the problem. Zero strategic vision of what's going to happen when the shit hits the fan, Don't care what it is that first impacts that rotating oscillator. Teotwaki, the end of the world as we know it, is going to happen, and it's not going to be pretty, and we're not going to be able to survive on our own. So there you go. All right, so all things being equal, yeah, all things being equal, we could have survived in Oregon, or we could have survived in South Dakota, or in Minnesota, or Maine, or Florida, or, there's going to be some changes. I'm just telling you, that's just fact, okay? So we need to get ruralized and be in community. The time of the lone wolf is over. Well, I'll just quote the Hopi elders in toto, as it is an excellent summary of my position. Okay? Get out of the way. A Hopi elder speaks. You have been telling the people that this is the 11th hour, and I have. Now you must go back and tell the people that this is the hour, and there are things to be considered. Where are you living? What are you doing? What are your relationships? Are you in right relation? Where is your water? Know your garden. It is time to speak your truth. And, like I said before, I've talked about this before, but yeah, it's time. It's time. I've been speaking truth, and it's time for me to speak more. Create your community. You have land, you better have a community there. And one thing, man, Vic and I, we were, on the same page. He said, he says, people that think they're going to be lone wolf. And I was like, oh boy, are you preaching it? I told you that before. Are you preaching to the choir on that one, Just read the book, lights out. Yeah. That's the whole import of it. So, yeah, I got to send him a link. Yeah, he said, I've been hearing your name, like, one right after the other. And he said, people have said some, I don't know, something about awesome things about you or something. And Sister Sue said, don't get a big head. Anyway, this is funny. All right, create your community. Be good to each other. And do not look outside yourself for the leader. Talking to every one of you out there. Don't be looking at somebody else to be the leader. Be a leader. For your area, for your family, for your community, for your region. Be a leader. If that's been given you to do. Then he clasped his hands together, smiled, and said, this could be a good time. And I believe it's going to be a good time. And I said, I know it will be in the final analysis, frightening as it is, because we will be seeing a cleansing, a recreating of our lives and culture. That's my belief. When the smoke clears and the dust settles, we're going to take liberty to the entire plain. Bite my tongue. There is a river flowing now very fast. It is so great and swift that there are those who will be afraid. Can't be afraid. They will try to hold on to the shore. They will feel they are torn apart and will suffer greatly. No, the river has its destination. The elders say, we must let go of the shore, push off into the middle of the river, keep our eyes open and our heads above water. And I say, see who is in there with you and celebrate. At this time in history, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. Don't take anything personally, but definitely don't take yourself personally. Don't think you're so important. There's so many people right now, I've been running into them right and left. They think way more highly of themselves than they ought. And I keep telling some people, there's an old saying, I'll just quote it, and I'm not going to refer to any details. You never give a machine gun to a monkey. All right, that's all I'm going to say on that one. Beware. At this time in history, we're taking nothing personally, least of all ourselves. For the moment that we do, our spiritual growth and journey comes to a halt. The time for the lone wolf is over. Gather yourselves. Banish the word struggle from your attitude and your vocabulary. All that we do now must be done in a sacred manner and in celebration. We are the ones we have been waiting for. And that's an old, that might be decades and decades and decades old, but it's like a timeless saying. I just feel like it's just a very powerful saying. And in regard to everything else I've been trying to get across, that would be, this whole series could be, the time of the lone wolf is over. I mean, it is over, okay? So, yep. So, I think that's going to be about it. Yeah. So I'm going to just do a real quick recap of... Oh, hang on here. Huh. Yeah. Okay. I won't recap those. I want to read another. This is just kind of encouraging. I have heard it said in regard to Missouri, but specifically the plateau, we could close the borders and be just fine. That was one of the first things told to me by a man who had contacts very high up in the governments. The man told me that, well, I'm not going to tell you what he told me. But we could close the borders and be just fine. Geographically, demographically, etc., southwest Missouri, along with a chunk of northwest Arkansas and some of northeast Oklahoma and southeast Kansas, and you have an extremely cohesive region with borders defined by the terrain, water, ranches, farms, forests, and people who occupy that region. Now, at this time, I wasn't quite as aware of the fact that almost the entire region, if it's this big on a map, there's a very small part going out to the northwest, a little corridor that's not bounded by rivers. And some idiot said, people have been swimming across rivers for, try that with pythons, feral hogs, wolves, lions, diseases, who knows what all, in the rivers. And rivers are borders. I mean, they always have been, they always will be. It's not that easy to cross a river. Oh yeah, try swimming a river, with an army, with people shooting at you with machine guns from the other side. Yeah, tell me how easy it is to cross rivers. Moving on. All right. So, we need to localize food, industry, energy, and currency. If we do that, we may someday see a people and a region with a vast difference in its survival quotient, quote unquote, from the rest of the nation and the world. This area has traditionally been considered one of the poorest and roughest areas of the country to make a living. I contend that it is perhaps, and I would no longer say perhaps, it's not perhaps, it is the wealthiest and certainly safest place to ride out the storms headed our way. There are Russians here, coming here from around the world, because they have, I heard this one time, I've said it before, one time, Santa Fe, New Mexico, this woman told me that the Ringing Cedars people have designated Ava, Missouri as the center of the safest place on earth. So that's that idea, the Dacha movement, the Russian farm movement, took Russia right through their complete collapse. No riots, no starvation, no hunger. People exchanged their bounteous wealth from their gardens. They had no civil defense on civil unrest issues because of starvation or hunger or rioting. So, and that woman was actually, first time I'd ever met her, first time she'd ever seen me. She was quoting me verbatim. Go figure that one out. I don't know. So if my work and info help So if my work and info can help you draw a circle of safety around your family there in Oregon, or Leanne's in Florida, Delia's in Arizona, whatever, it will help define a far, far greater circle of safety around a centrally located and much more concentrated circle here in the Midwest. Should any or all of you have a need to fall back, whether an individual or in mass as a family clan, we will be doing our level best to be ready to receive you with open arms and loving hearts. That is my vision, pure and simple. In that, I see a major redoubt. Oh, perish the word. Oh my gosh. Okay, excise that from my vocabulary for the Ozark Plateau. This was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, let me tell you. Or refuge area here in Missouri and Arkansas, etc. We talk about that a lot, but realize that is for you. That is for you also, should you need to head this way. Everything we can do to help anyone establish a farm, refuge anywhere in the country, we will do. There are folks with refuges on the group all over the country. Texas, South Carolina, Ohio, New York, etc. People came to the meeting from New York, Virginia, South Carolina, Texas, etc. Many places will be way stations. We know of some already. They may be there to help thousands of people, or may be there to help 10 people. They may be told to pack up and head to the next way station.